Welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy, where warmth, wisdom, and community come together. Just like a good meal shared with loved ones, our podcast brings heartfelt conversations with incredible people who are making a difference.
We spotlight community leaders, change makers, and everyday heroes who uplift, encourage, and support those around them. Grab a cup of tea, pull up a chair, and join us as we share inspiring stories, real talk, and a whole lot of love. Because when we come together, we nourish more than just our bodies, we feed our souls. Welcome, everyone, to Tea and Cornbread with Sean and Tracy. I'm Tracy.
I'm Sean.
We just want to say welcome and thank you for listening, starting your day, afternoon, or evening off with us. We bring to you another episode of just us talking about, today we're going to discuss spring cleaning, what it is, what it means to you. Sean has made one of her beautiful juices, is it called?
This is, yeah,
a
you
juice?
can say that. You can say
Yeah, she'll discuss a little bit of the benefits of what's in that. Prior to doing that, though, you know how we start off our show. We're going to do our breathing. Sean's going to walk us through that. And then we'll get into our devotional. I'll read from Jesus is Calling. And then we'll get right back to our regularly scheduled program.
I love it. I love it. So today for oil, I have Idaho, I can't see it, Grand Fir. That's what it's called. Idaho Grand Fir. And it's from a tree, like a pine tree type of thing. It's
Okay.
a tree. And it is great for emotional balance. It's anti-parasitic. It's anti-inflammatory. It's really, really good for muscle fatigue.
Okay.
So if you that stay in the gym all the time, if
Yep.
you have muscle fatigue, this is great for it. So we're going to put a drop on our hand.
It smells strong.
It is strong.
Okay.
It is strong. I meant to just do one drop, but that didn't work. And we're going to center ourselves for today's episode.
Yes.
So the reason why we do this is so that we calm our nerves, because we're always nervous when the
Yeah.
cameras turn on. We're always nervous, but at the same time, it helps us to calm our nerves. It's great for the central nervous system, also for the respiratory system. So we're going to breathe in, and for those that may do this at home, you don't need an oil to do it. You still can do this. And if you have respiratory issues, you can expand your lungs. I'll do that part, and you do the regular, and I'll do where
Okay.
you can expand your lungs. So we're going to inhale through the nose and hold it for 4 seconds, and then we're going to exhale for 7 seconds. And when we exhale, you're going to blow like you're blowing out a lot of candles, you know. And when you inhale, your stomach should inflate. When you exhale, your stomach should deflate. And when doing that, it calms you. You know, it brings oxygen to the brain and circulation. All right, so we're going
Okay.
to do this 3 times. And you may get dizzy the first time you do it, but keep doing it. If you make that part of your daily regimen, you'll find that you'll anxiety or anything like that will dissipate or reduce. All right, ready? When I'm bringing my elbows all the way up, it expands my lungs and allows more oxygen to the lungs. And you should be sitting flat with your feet flat. You're sitting straight up, and you do it again. All right. Ooh, that calmed me down.
That's different.
about
That's
you?
different. Yeah. Pretty strong.
It is.
I like it.
Yep.
Opened you up before you even put it in my hand. I smelt it. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing, too. Okay. Moving right along, I will read Jesus is Calling. Okay. Today is March 30th. I am taking care of you. Trust me at all times. Trust me in all circumstances. Trust me with all your heart. When you are weary and everything seems to be going wrong, you can still utter these 4 words, I trust you, Jesus. By doing so, you release matters into my control, and you fall back into the security of my everlasting arms. Before you arise from your bed in the morning, I have already arranged the events of your day. Every day provides many opportunities for you to learn my way and grow closer to me. Signs of my presence brighten even in the dullest day when you have eyes that really see. Search for me as for hidden search for me as for hidden treasure. I will find I will be found by you. So when you get up every morning and you thinking it's your way, it's his way. So pay attention.
It's always his way.
It's always
And
his
that's
way.
why we stay in the state of stress because we want to do it ourselves.
We give it to him, take it
And
away. Give it to him, take it away.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
so, if you just think about that,
mhm.
it just
It's gonna
takes
be
a moment.
okay.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Let go, let God.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Isn't that what we're taught? Let go, let God.
Yes, we're
So,
taught that we have to remember it.
practice it.
practice it. Yeah,
Mhm.
stay on track. Stay on
Yeah,
track.
we gotta practice it.
Yes.
All right, all right. So,
Yes.
spring cleaning, what does that look like to you?
Mm.
And every year we talk about this, right? Every
Mhm.
year we think about what are we gonna do when it comes to spring cleaning. So I've already started at my house. This is when you do you clean out closets or whatever that is. So what does spring cleaning mean to you?
Well, originally I was gonna say just what you just said. I'm gonna go in and start doing closets. My basement needs to be done. There's things that could be thrown out and do little tag sales, which I don't do. Give it away. I would rather give it away than do a tag sale because I don't want to be bothered. But I think for me, a part of my spring cleaning and sitting up here having this platform, it's gonna be more health wise for
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Um, we always talk about me being in the gym, and I think a part of me, I've fallen off and I haven't been as diligent doing these things as much as I have been. Just started back going to double dutch and stuff like that. And when I say that, I say this to myself. When I say, oh, I'm in the gym 6 days a week, and then I look at myself, maybe my physique doesn't show that. And so that's a part where I want to get back to my spring cleaning is taking care of me, being more healthy, making better choices. Well, you know what? I think I make good choices as far as foods, making sure the things that I'm putting into my body are healthy. Um, so that's kind of where my spring cleaning journey is going more so than to the house. It's like you said, is what we're taught sometimes, oh, the weather's breaking and we got to do this, we got to do that. We kind of programmed to do certain stuff. But my spring cleaning is more me,
You.
more
You.
physical, more eating better, making wise choices when I go into the store. And I'm really trying to just do fruits and vegetables. Believe it or not, people know that I'm a pescatarian that know, but I want to even get away from eating fish.
Okay.
So one day at
Okay.
a time. We'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. It is one
How
day at a
about you?
time. Same, basically. But more really the house right now. I'm trying to minimize my life. You know what I mean? There's so many things that we have that we waste money on, that sits in the corner forever, that you haven't touched in the back of your closet in how many years. So those are the things that I'm concentrating on in the next few weeks. I started last week. It feels good when you see an area that's been cluttered for a minute or whatever, and finally it's not.
Right.
you know.
Right.
So that's what I'm basically concentrating on. I constantly detox. You know what I mean? I'm constantly, at least once a month. I do at least a minimum of 3 days of detoxing,
Okay.
and that is just part of my regimen now. You know what I mean? And I do it different ways. So when we're talking about spring cleaning, for those that may have fell off from their resolution, what is it, resolution, right? At the beginning of the year, or the goals that they set, their wellness goals that they set at the beginning of the year, this is the time to start again,
That's it.
And
That's it.
because when the weather breaks, we tend to feel more motivated, we tend to feel motivated to get out, there's so many ways that you could take care of yourself minimally.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what I mean by minimally, meaning it doesn't take cost.
Right. You can get out and do
It's
for
not a whole
walk.
lot of effort,
Yep.
right? to just get started. It's not a whole lot of effort. Like you said, you can just walk. Just increasing your water intake makes a difference because we are a society of dehydrated people.
Yeah. I totally agree with that too. I try to make sure I have a jug at home, and I try to make sure I put it on the table first thing when I get out the bed, and try to ensure that that's gone before I go to bed at night. It doesn't always work, but that's the only way I will get my water intake because I'm not a big water person.
Yeah. And if you're not a big water person, then infuse it with fruit. You
Okay.
know, my favorite go-to is frozen cherries and blueberries.
Okay.
And you put it in and you let it sit, for a little bit, maybe an hour, and then it really tastes good. And it's
Okay.
just frozen fruits and blueberries and
That's
water.
it.
And I use the mason jar.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's hydrating. And then you can try different combinations, maybe pineapple and cucumber, something like that. Lemon and cucumber. Lemon and cucumber is very hydrating, and it's very refreshing. So whenever I do classes, shameless plug, I do classes. If you have an organization that wants to learn a little bit more about these things, I do classes. You can reach out to us on our channel, and then we can talk about it. But so even with that, the lemon and cucumber water is what I usually bring, or I'll just use lemon water, whatever. I usually bring that to the classes, and people have that to drink. And they're always like just so, oh my goodness, what is this? It tastes so good. It's this and
Yeah.
that. And it's very simple. Cucumbers, water. And you peel the I cut the cucumber, I'm sorry. Clean the cucumber skin really good. If it's not organic, peel it.
Okay.
Okay, if it's organic, clean it, cut it up, put it in there. I don't like the taste of the rind of the lemon, so I squeeze the lemon juice.
Okay.
I'll squeeze one lemon, and I'll cut up a half a cucumber, depending on how big it is, a half a cucumber in a gallon of water.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that will help you to drink more, and it's hydrating.
And
It
you said
really
it
is
tastes good.
hydrating. Yeah, it's really hydrating. It's detoxifying. It'll boost your metabolism if you have it first thing in the morning and not cold.
Okay.
It shouldn't be cold because cold slows up your digestion. So if you have that first thing in the morning, room temperature, you'll be surprised on the energy that you'll have.
Throughout the day.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and drinking it more. And most people go, "Oh, I can't do that. I got to start with my coffee." No, when you start with your coffee, you're starting dehydrating.
Okay.
Coffee is dehydrating.
Well, one thing we didn't talk about last weekend, even though, we usually say, hey, what you do the weekend?
right,
But
right,
last weekend, we went to the event.
That
The
you were
women's-
honored at.
Yes, that was so awesome. I will tell you this. Yes. I will say that I was truly honored. I was nervous at first, but then the love, and then to see all the other honorees and what they have accomplished was so heartfelt.
Yes.
Even the women congratulating
Shout out
each
to
other.
all of you.
Yes, everybody that was honored. That was such a wonderful thing. And then shout out to the women that put it on. And I will always shout out Orlando. I know Girl Track was there. I know Black Women United was there.
And BTS,
Yep.
Bridge to Success.
Bridge to Success. Thank you to all of those women to making us feeling welcome and
Yes,
seen.
yes.
The little things that you do that you think nobody's paying attention to.
Right.
Because I'm behind the scenes person. So I didn't think I stood a candle to the ladies that were honored,
Oh, everybody.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I cannot.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had someone, one of my girlfriends that lives in Danbury, so she's never hung out in Waterbury. So I
Okay.
invited her, and she came. She was amazed.
It was
She was
nice.
amazed, because she's in Danbury, but
Yeah,
she doesn't go to anything, she's not exposed to
Right.
those type of
events.
And
Yeah.
so she was just like, listen, what?
Right,
She said,
right.
these resumes are amazing.
Yeah.
And these people, and everybody that were honored, they are under the radar. You wouldn't know. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because
right.
listening to them was like, wow. And that's
Yeah.
because people are out here really, really genuine
Trying
about
to
what they
help
do.
and give back
Yes,
to others. And
absolutely.
that's important. But And then even on that event, we started off with Girl Trek and walking 3.5 miles. You know that you're walking and you're talking, and before you know it, you
It's
got your
done.
work you got your
Yeah.
workout in.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to bring up about that again was you had a drink there, and I think it had cucumber, ginger, and something else in there. What was it?
It was green apples, celery, and green apples, celery, and ginger.
Okay,
It was real simple.
that was a very that drink was off the chain. So what that drink was so good. And I'm not just saying this because she is my sister. It was good. I heard other people talking about it. They don't even know who I am. They were talking about that drink. So what are the health benefits of that? And when would you drink that? Is that something you drink out throughout the day? Something you take first thing in the morning?
You can drink it all day long, but if
Okay.
you start your morning off with it, boost your metabolism.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It boosts your metabolism. It's detoxifying. Celery is great for blood pressure. You know,
Okay.
it's really great for blood pressure. Green apples are also, you know. So those are the benefits, and those are just like a couple of benefits that people could relate to
Right.
that they're good for. If you start your day off with that, and then the other thing too, it will reduce your cravings for things that
For
are
other
not good
stuff.
for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because we start our breakfast. Most people start off with a carb heavy breakfast, right? Which we do need carbs, right? But the carbs that we're eating is breads and donuts and so on and so forth, and they have no nutritional value. And so I'm glad you're saying this too, because we're talking about the difference between juice and sodas or juice or any other type of drinks that are not made. I'm gonna say made from the earth. I love
Yeah.
basically made from the earth, right? And when people say, "Oh, well, I can't have that many fruits because I'm diabetic," or
Okay.
whatever, what it is when you are having a fruit juice. A fruit juice is good if you're diabetic or not. It depends on how many fruits you put in there, and also the glycemic level of the glycemic level of fruits, and the combinations of them, and how often you drink them, right?
Okay.
But when you're drinking soda or bottled juice that you're buying from the grocery store, like the ones that say 100% juice, I'm not talking the cold pressed juice. The ones that say 100% juice, those are laden with synthetic sugars, which spikes our sugar. Our pancreas can't metabolize it, right? And what happens is it has no nutritional value. So the difference between that and making your own juice with fruit is, yes, you'll get a little spike, but your spike is not,
Brings you
it's not
bring you
bringing
up
up
and
fast.
then bring you back down.
Right, exactly. It's not doing that. And also it has nutritional value.
Okay.
And so what happens is your body recognizes this is real food. I can metabolize this and I can utilize it the way it needs to be utilized for energy, for like you said, the immune system, things like that. That's the benefits of juice. Here, and then not buying.
Right.
But people will have soda first thing in the morning, or coffee with a whole lot of sugar, and people say, I don't use sugar, I'll use Splenda, or I'll
Splenda.
use, which is worse, okay, because it's 10 times sweeter than regular sugar, but it's more of a chemical, more toxic,
Okay.
and the body cannot metabolize it. The liver, you're killing your liver using those things, right? If you start your day off with juice in the morning, you won't be sluggish in the middle of the day. You know, if you have it in the middle of the day when you get that low, like after you eating donuts and all of that, because it does spike your sugar first and then it crashes.
Okay.
So that's what the difference is with the two. I hope that makes sense to you, but that's what the difference is between the two. And that's what the benefits of that juice and the other juice I made too. And yes, shout out to everybody that did enjoy the juices, because that I had people request, so I did start a juice packages. We can talk about that. I'll put the link in the bio where, but the way I'm doing it is I'm not just selling bottles of juice, right? It's the package to benefit you, to get you started on whatever your health goal is. So you're not getting bottles of juice. You'll get 64 ounces, 96 ounces of juice to drink all week.
Okay.
To start your morning off in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And you can either do a weekly, or you can do a 2 week, or you can do a month. And what that also comes with is coaching. So I'm checking in with you. I'm finding out, how you feeling. Also, did you drink it all?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What difference did you see? Those things. I'm not just selling you a bottle of juice. I'm not. I can't do
Which
it
is
that way.
important.
Right,
It's
because you can
important.
go to a juice bar and get that. You can do
Mm-hmm.
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my goal and my intent is to find out what your goal is. What are you suffering from? And not each juice is good for everybody.
Right.
Some people can't have certain things, like they may have an allergy to something. And so I'll do a consultation first to find out. And what are you suffering from?
Mm-hmm.
Is it diabetes? If you're diabetic, then I'm not going to have more fruit in the juice. I'll have more greens in there, because if you have too much fruit, then that could be
Like a
detrimental
spike.
also
Yeah.
to a certain extent, but it's still possible to do. You know
Right.
what I mean? So, yeah. So when
No,
they
I
said
think that's
that,
pretty awesome because, like you said, you go to a juice bar and you just look up there and you see what the combinations are, and for the moment you're like, oh, I need that right now, and then that's it.
and that's
There's
it.
nobody following up. There's
Right.
nobody saying, okay, did it work for you? If not, let's try something else, which is
Right.
very important. And then a personal accountability too.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
very important.
And the other thing is too, we'll have that juice and then we go to McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts. You know what I mean? We're still having the food that's
Mm-hmm.
causing the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another reason why it's just coaching you through, just finding
Yeah.
out what your diet is, what are the issues you're dealing with. Let's get to the root cause and let's address the root cause. And we can address the root cause with juice or with my lemon drink, I call it. This is my lemon drink. That's a detoxifying drink that is also helps with metabolism, uh, immune system,
Mm-hmm.
cleanses all the organs. Also, if you're having circulation problems, I have cayenne pepper in it that helps with blood circulation. There's so many different benefits, but it starts with a conversation.
It starts with a conversation,
Starts
and
with a conversation.
hopefully the goal is once they're finished talking with you and you're introducing the different juices, they're able to say, okay, I can do this, like you said, without stopping at McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or those Frankie's. And I know she's not saying you're never able to treat yourself,
Right.
but
If you're
hopefully
dealing
you're
with
treating yourself once or twice a year instead of once or twice a week.
right and
Yeah.
or daily. Most people
Good.
have habits. Is what our habits are. I know so many people that their habit is Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They have to have their
It's just
Dunkin' Donut
routine.
coffee.
It becomes
It's
routine.
routine,
It becomes
absolutely.
routine.
So if you were to able to change just tweak your routine a little bit with
One
one
day at a
thing.
time,
With
though. One day at a
yeah,
time.
one of my things that I say to people, it takes 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time to make a change.
It does.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
Doesn't happen overnight.
So if you think about it, I know for gym, when you go into the gym, I know you didn't go in there 6 days a week when you first started.
No.
You know,
No, and there's
It-
days I don't want to go, but
exactly.
I know I have to.
It's a
And
habit.
like I said, I fell off. Now I got to get back in it. Like I'm literally looking at myself saying,
Do you want to feel good? That's my whole thing.
listen,
And
and
do
that's
you
the
wanna
bottom
feel
line.
good?
And I say about my physique, but that's my own insecurity. It's
Mm-hmm.
really not because you have healthy people that don't have hourglass figures. So
Right.
I'm not being unrealistic.
Right.
So listen,
Right.
I'm a woman of a certain age, and listen, this is me.
Yeah.
How
But
about
the
that?
but the thing is too is we don't have to, because everybody uses that. Well, I'm older now. It's because of my age. No, there's
Well, you can
70.
still be
There are
active.
70-year-old women
Yeah.
out there that can bench press and got a
Mhm.
chiseled body, and eat
It's
well.
whatever your
And
goal is.
yeah, exactly.
It's whatever your goal
But my
is.
whole thing is I want to help people feel better. Because you have this pain or because you have allergies or because you don't have to have them is the
Right.
point. It's normal for you, but it's not normal. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's your norm, but it's not
It
normal.
doesn't right.
Those things are
Right.
reversible.
You said it
And
right. It's your norm.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be
yeah.
that way forever.
Right.
We have to break the chain. Well, I hate to sidebar again, but this is what.
That is.
And I know, and the reason I'm saying that because I'm constantly drinking it, so it's not my tea. So what am I drinking, friend?
You are drinking. Apple is green apple, is Gala, It's celery and carrots and ginger. Okay,
And
all
what I love
anti-inflammatory.
before she continues, what I love is these are things you probably already have in your house.
Absolutely,
That's what
absolutely.
I love about it.
Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food.
Yes.
That's Hippocrates. That's from BC. What is it, 300 BC or whatever? But yeah,
Hmm.
that's what it is. I mean, our food is medicine.
Simple.
Our food is medicine, and it
Simple.
is simple, and it does not cost a whole lot. Everybody, it costs so much to. No, it costs you more to eat junk because now you got medications. Now you're in
Doctors,
pain. Now you're
surgery.
going right. You're going to the doctors, and you're going there with pain that there's some people I'll have conversations with. They keep going because they want the doctor to tell them what's wrong,
Hmm.
when technically, yes, your body says something's wrong, but you're not fueling your body for its optimum health.
Well, you know what it is? Something that you just said too. When you go into the doctors, you're not being honest with the doctor
No,
either.
no.
You're not going
But
in
they're not
telling
asking
them
the
they're not
questions.
going to.
Nope.
But that's if you're going there and I'm seeking yours, I got to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So a part of that is too, and I think what helps me is making a log of what I'm eating.
Absolutely.
So I have to
Oh,
write
that's
it
that's
down.
my favorite thing.
So I do because then it keeps me accountable to say, I'll
It
tell you the
makes
truth.
you
Last week I had a
aware.
bad week, but I had a bad week, but I knew I was gonna have a bad week. It's my birthday. I just had a bad week.
That's right.
So I didn't even log it. I said, I ain't looking at this. So I'm
I
back
know what
on
I'm
track.
doing.
Yeah, I'm back on track this week. So
Yeah.
logging really does help me. It may sound silly,
Mm-hmm.
and but you got to do what works for you.
Right. Absolutely. But if I could talk about that a little
Hmm.
bit, when you are journaling your food, right? When you are journaling your intake and your bowel movements, believe it or not, because everybody thinks I only go to the bathroom once a week. I only go to the bathroom maybe 3 times a week. I only go to the bathroom once a day. Are you eating once a day? Are you eating once a
Right.
week? Every time you eat, you should be going to the bathroom. You should be moving, right? It is not normal to go to the bathroom once a day if you've eaten 3 or 4 times in a day. It's not normal to go once a week if you're eating daily. You know what I mean? It's not normal. Eventually, it's going to turn into a diagnosis. People will say, I've always had this problem. I've always had this, but it it's not necessary to keep living that way.
Right.
All you have to do is fuel your body the way it needs to be fueled in order to release the toxins that you're putting in. And so, just like I said, just increasing your water intake will have you going to the bathroom more often.
Okay.
It really is that simple, for most. In my experience, I have clients that most of them have gut issues. But the thing is, all disease starts in the gut. All disease starts in the gut. What you are eating is the reason why you have disease. Not everything is genetic. Genetic, what do you call it? Things that happen from, is genetic from your mother, your father, whatever, is usually from the environment because you ate like you did when the way your mother cooked is the way you cook.
Right.
So you're going to have whatever ailments that your mother had, you're going to have those same things.
And you're trying to change those things little by
Exactly.
little, day
Little
by
by
day.
little.
Yeah.
Little by little.
Little small tweaks because I don't want people to think, like Sean said, that you just jump into it and it happens and we're going
No.
to see results the next day. That's anything that we do that's with a purpose. It takes time.
Right. And the other thing is you have to let your doctor know that you want to make changes, And so I have a client that she's been going to a bunch of doctors and having different tests and everything like that. And I tell her, let every single one of those doctors know what we're doing. You know what I mean? And so they gave her a new medication and she had the side effects immediately of that medication. And I told her, tell your doctor what tell him what you're doing, but also tell him you're having all these side effects. What other option is there?
Right.
And you know what he said to her? Keep working with what you're doing and come back in 6 months. You don't have to take this medication right now.
Good. Good.
And so she was excited that they, said that. And I said, great, but make sure you're letting them know exactly
Right.
what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Right.
And he's like, because in 6 months you should be okay.